Well, good morning, Bright Shine, and let's give God all of the glory on this beautiful day. We want to thank you again, as always, for tuning in to One of Tabernacle Praise Morning Devotion, and we are ready to share the word of the Lord with you. We're going to look at the book of Matthew on this morning, chapter number 9, and we're going to look at verse number 37. Matthew chapter 9, verse number 37. And it reads, Then said he unto them, he being Jesus, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Pray ye therefore that the Lord of the harvest, that he will send for the laborers in the harvest. I'm reminded of a story that a pastor once shared. He was going to a restaurant, him and his wife, right after the pandemic. He was going to his normal place, and he wanted to sit in his normal spot. He get to the restaurant, and he noticed that there's not very many people in the restaurant. So he's excited. But once he get to the service stand, they tell him that there's no room. The pastor respond back to the lady and said, "What do you mean there's no room? I just looked through the window, and my normal table is open. As a matter of fact, there are plenty of tables that are open." They said, "Well, sir, let me rephrase that. There is plenty of room, but the problem is we don't have servers to work that area." Here Jesus is facing the same problem that the pastor had at the restaurant. There's plenty of room. There's plenty of people that need to be served, that need to be helped, but there's no laborers. The Bible said that Jesus is preaching in the synagogue. He's preaching and he's teaching and he's healing, according to the word of the Lord, every disease and every sickness. But the word says that he noticed a multitude and he had compassion on them. He's in the church. He's preaching the word. He's teaching the word. And he's healing those that need to be healed. But he noticed a multitude. Here we are. Before we can deal with the multitude, we have to make sure that we are healed ourselves. So Jesus is inside of the church and he's healing a church that is sick, a wounded church. And it's a wandering world on the outside. Jesus first dealt with the church and healed the people that was in the church. And then he noticed that there was a multitude that was on the outside. And the Bible said that he had compassion on them. The reason why he had compassion on them, because the Bible said that they was like a sheep without a shepherd, just wandering around, lost, hopeless. And when Jesus saw this group of people, he said to his disciples, "Look at all of this work. Look at the harvest. The harvest is something that is ready to pick, that is prepared already. The seed has been planted, and when you go gather your harvest, it's already ready. When you go get grapes off a vine, you don't pick them until they're ready. If they're ready to pick, that is the harvest from a seed that somebody planted." Jesus looked at the multitude, these people who looked at hopeless, who was discouraged, and said, "Look at this harvest." But the problem is, it's not the harvest, it is the laborers. So he said to his disciples, "I want you to pray that the Lord of the harvest will send laborers." Jesus said the work is out here. And if I had to entitle this devotion this morning, I would call it, are you going to help me work this thing? Can you help me work this thing? Jesus pointed out to the disciples, there is plenty of work. But most of the time we want to work inside of the church, but the ministry is on the outside. Jesus healed the sick. He healed those who had disease inside of the synagogue. But before we can heal a wandering world, we got to make sure that we are healed ourselves. We can't heal a world when we are wounded. We can't heal a sick world when we are still sick. We can't heal a lying world when we are still lying. We must be wailed and delivered and set free ourselves before we can help a bound world. Jesus said the key is prayer. So this morning, Jesus is saying, do anybody want a job? Is there anybody out there that's willing to work in the vineyard? There are plenty of people who need help. See, when we see somebody that's in a hopeless situation, we may say something like this: that woman is on drugs. But when Jesus looked, he said, that's harvest. That's harvest. There are so many people that are out there, just like the grapes that are on the vine, who are on alcohol, who are on drugs, waiting for somebody. They're tired of their situation. They're tired of what they are doing, and they're looking for change. And you are the answer. God said, pray to the Lord of harvest that he may send laborers. There's plenty of work to do outside of the church. And everybody is trying to work on the inside of the church. But Jesus said, look, there's plenty of work to do, but we have to step outside of the doors, and we have to notice people, and we have to have compassion on them once we come across their paths. Jesus is looking for workers. Do you want a job this morning? There's plenty of work to do in your church, in my church, in every other church. The Bible said that the harvest is plenteous. We just need workers. I hope these words bless you on this morning. And I want you to remember that God has called you to a dying world. And unless we go out and tell them about the goodness, the gospel, they're going to be lost. We thank you again for tuning in to Wonder Tabernacle Praise Morning Devotion. And we will see you next time. God bless. Bye-bye.